So, daily notes from yesterday, please write down prompt attack. And you can write down Maya or M and M. Maya, aka Meek Mill. All right, eyes up here. So we're going to use our rubric over here to give a score for Maya, what we think she's on track for, based on what she planned. Interesting prompt. Could somebody read just the question from the prompt? What did the question say, Tariq?
Should people always be loyal?
Raise your hand if you said yes, absolutely, people should always be loyal. How many people said, nah, sometimes you don't need to be loyal? Okay. Your answers to these prompts don't necessarily reflect personal beliefs, remember? Okay. So let's see what Maya did. You're going to write down your score, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and explain why. Ready? Maya said, no, people should not always be loyal. She said, you can get, her first argument was you can get involved in dangerous situations. In the book, Third in Indiana, a drug dealer was loyal to his cartel, but ended up being shot by one of his own.
Yes, it's what?
Next argument. You can change the world for the better. Her evidence was in the movie The Butler. Cecil wanted his son to be loyal to him, but his son ended up relinquishing his loyalty to his dad to become a civil rights activist. As a result, blacks began having equal opportunities. Let's take 30 seconds. Jot down your score for Maya and explain why you think she earned it. Looks like it's on track for a 4. Jaleel, tell us why.
I said, she had 4 because when I was dead, I said, she gave 9th grade evidence.
A little bit louder.
She gave 9th grade evidence to answer the problem.
Third in Indiana, the movie The Butler. That's some really solid high school level evidence. Good. Could have been a 5 if she got that 3rd point down. Did great. Great effort. All right. Let's move on. Please look at your goal from yesterday. And you can take your do now and turn it over to the back side. All right, do me a favor and read it nice and loud, please. Go ahead, Jaleel.
It is true.
Hold on. Go. Awesome. Do me a favor, just quickly turn to your partner, share with them what's the counter argument, what's the rebuttal. Look at your notes from yesterday. Could you just summarize nice and loud?
So the counter argument is like giving an argument for your opposition, and then the rebuttal is like saying, like the example is like I said, it is true, and then however.
So you gave us the transitions that we might use. So we give an example for the opposition, and then we want to come back at it and explain why it's actually wrong, right? So we tried that yesterday. We followed some steps. I want to look at 2 examples of your work from yesterday. One of them I think totally nails it. The other one I think needs some work. Let's try to figure out which one is which. Let's start by just reading. Student A reads student B. While you're reading, you should be annotating, looking at where's the claims, where's the evidence, and where's the elaboration, right? So I'm going to put 2 minutes on the timer independently and silently. You should be reading A and B. Ready, set, go. need you guys to write me. Give me at least 3 sentences explaining which one was better and why. And when I say better, you want to think like, which one's more persuasive? Which one really persuaded you of their point of view? Right? 2 minutes on the timer. Everybody's writing. Ready, set, go. Shout out to Devon for getting right on task. Everybody should be writing. Let's take 30 seconds. Just quickly turn and talk with your neighbor. Which one was better and why? You 3 are talking up here. Go.
But in my opinion, I believe so because she tied what she was saying like right back to her claim, and then student B can work on like making their claim more clear because in here, when I first read it, I thought that it was saying like smartphones often lead to antisocial behavior, but really they were saying how it's more positive. But it was just unclear to me how they put it in the paragraph, but I'm not sure.
Here's the deal. One of these is better than the other one. But we want to look at both of them to figure out what's the best way we can improve starting right now, okay? So let's share out. I heard some interesting responses. Sharif, could you tell me what you thought?
I said student B because their counterclaim is connected to their interest in prayer.
Can you repeat the second part again? Why?
Their counterclaim is connected to their interest in prayer.
Snaps if you agree.
I just didn't catch this now. Their counterclaim is connected to what?
You say it one more time, Sharif.
The counterclaim was connected to the intro to the paragraph. The topic said? Oh yeah, what he said.
All right, where you stand, Tariq?
I said student A. Because it's the claim and the evidence is really good, and then the elaboration it's in line with the evidence, and it ties back to the claim.
Okay. Where you stand, Maya?
Cause look, for B, he said basically people are addicted to their phone can become alien to face-to-face conversations. And then his counterclaim was that smartphones have a positive impact on people because they actually improve the ways that people socialize. But then when he went down to his elaboration, he just basically said the same thing. He was like, smartphone users are not nearly as antisocial. Many are using their phones to actually become more social. But he's not really explaining like how the phones are really doing it. He's just restating what he said. You need to elaborate more, and maybe it'll like help.
Alright. Let's keep going for a second. It sounds like we're a little bit divided. Kyra, what do you think?
I agree with Tyreek and Maya. I like to add that I just said when I read Student B for the first time, I had to go back and reread it to try and understand what his claim was.
Okay. Nasir, something to add?
Just to add on to what Maya said or whatever. After it says like according to or whatever, it does state that it says that people are finding ways by simply sending updates and stuff like that. That is telling you that that's how they're being more social.
So you're saying that Student B does elaborate on that point?
I'm just saying it does give evidence and that
Got it. Okay. Steve, I heard something really interesting. What did you say earlier?
I said student B was better because the whole paragraph was like the line. In student A, it started off by talking about how driverless cars are safer to the environment, but then they started talking about how they expensive and they took
All right. So let's make a couple quick notes. Student B is indeed our exemplar for today. Hate to break it to you. But there's really two things that I want us to notice, because the reality is right now, based on what we did yesterday, I'm seeing a lot of paragraphs that look a little bit like student A, and I want us to improve in like two particular ways here. The first way is what Steve and I think what Sharif were trying to get to, the same thing. So if you already got this in your notes, put a little star next to it or something. If not, please write it down. So you want to make sure that your counterclaim and your main claim are, you said the right word, Steve, are aligned. Right? So student A says, driverless cars are safe. But then they go on and try to counter it by saying, problem is they're too expensive, right? So it's not really lining up, the claim and the counterclaim. B says, using a smartphone too often can lead to antisocial behavior. The counterclaim is, actually, smartphones can help people socialize, as Nasir pointed out, in a slightly different way than maybe we would expect, right? So let's put it real simple. Antisocial, we're talking about socializing. Those are aligned, right? Give me a second, Maya. Safer, and then talking about expensive. These are two different points, right? I want to point out one more thing before you guys move on to your own work. Do me a favor and put a box around the words. Put a box around the word are in student A's first sentence. Put a box around the word can lead to. The words can lead to. So there's a big difference in the choice of words the student A uses versus the choice of words the student B uses. I want us to think about that for a second. So we're going to take a minute, turn and talk with your neighbor again. Question is, what's the difference between the way student A chooses the word are versus the way student B chooses the words can lead to? And why is student B's choice better? Right? So let's take a minute, turn and talk to your neighbor about those words.
The word can lead to, since this is a counterclaim, I believe it's better than R, because this is like, R is like a more dominant word, I believe. Like can lead to is given like I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but it's like an option. This saying R is given no option, but this is given an option, and this is a counterclaim. So you want to talk about your opposing, but your whole essay is about what you think, and this is the opposite of what you think. So I believe that's why can lead to is better. Right? What do you think?
This, if they say can lead to, it's kind of like something that might happen. I want you to write this word down. The really great thing about the way the student B puts it is that they actually qualify that counterclaim by adding that word can, right? If you're saying driverless cars are safer, that is like a definitive statement. That's like, you know, your overall point of view is actually that you don't want people to be that into driverless cars, right? So why would you want to make the counterclaim sound better than your actual claim? Sound more definitive at least. So if we can just think about adding a little more, a word that's a little less definitive, like can lead to, as opposed to will lead to, or is, or are, that's going to improve your chances of making a strong rebuttal later on. All right, we're going to move on. Please take out your drafts, take out your checklist, take out your mentor text. Let's get ready to write.